Okay. Everyone, get off the Wi-Fi. We're live, everybody. Ruben, and I can count on you. So, John is sick, everybody. So let's lift up our brother John right now in prayer. Yeah. Abba Yah, we thank you for this day of rest, and today our brother John can make it out here. So we ask this day of rest be nurturing to his body, to his health, and that you give him the sustenance and the health that he needs to be able to be uplifted and be powerful to do the work that you have called him to do. We thank you in the name of Yahuah, Yahushua Mashiach, Yahuah Rapha. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, man. John. Hey, John. Okay, so yeah, John isn't here, so he asked me to do something, and we're gonna have an open discussion.
Is he online?
He's online.
That's right.
Yeah. People told me to have the camera on me. I want it on everybody. And so we're having an open discussion, and the discussion at hand is Yahuah's desire. Oh, no. And so, what is Yahuah's desire? And John sends his love to everybody.
Thank you.
Hallelujah. I love you, John.
Love you, John.
God bless you.
Desire is for us to seek Him.
To seek Him.
Follow His commands.
Yeah.
Follow His commands.
To have,
Johnny, no. Come on, you guys, we did this together.
to trust Him.
To trust Him.
To be one with us.
To be one.
Obedience.
Yes. Obedience. So, we can see in Scripture, we see that everywhere in Scripture, right?
Yeah.
That He wants to be your Elohim and dwell with you.
In us also.
And in us. Okay, so what does that mean? What does that look like? Speak up too, loud.
Más fuerte.
He doesn't want to be outside of us. He wants to will.
Yeah.
To be in the same, and because He's living in us.
Right. Exactly.
So a personal love relationship, I think, ongoing, just at all times,
Mm-hmm.
without any breaks or cracks.
Well, when he created Adam, the first Adam, it says that he walked in the garden, he was with him, right?
Right.
So he was, so he created him to be with him,
Yeah.
to have, yeah. And, we see after the fall, he took him out of his presence, which is the garden, right?
So out of His presence?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we see a 3-tier level of dwelling, where Yahuah's dwelling is, right?
Mm-hmm.
We see it in the Shamayim, that's where He dwells. We see He dwells in man, in Adam,
Mm-hmm.
and He dwells in the Eretz, right? His dwelling is everywhere.
Right.
And so the Shamayim is a supernatural, the high level, that you have to get to.
Mm-hmm.
The Adam is the connecting level that we need to ascend, and we connect, right? The man connects to the Creator, which is bearing fruit into wherever he's connecting.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Eretz, he even dwells in the Eretz, but what has to happen? It's the physical level that must be tilled to get rid of any of the influences of the enemy.
Right, because the enemy says, there's a scripture that says the enemy planted tares. So we have to weed those out,
Those are like weeds.
So those, tares are like weeds.
They're false weeds.
Yeah, we planted false things that will not produce fruit in our lives. So we are the ones that are in charge, now that we're priests and righteous kings. We have to start taking away all these influences of the enemy from our lives so that we are a good soil to produce fruit.
Something.
Yeah.
And also the weeds we know that they are very similar to the real thing. For example,
They look like it.
Yeah, the wheat is the other. What is the other one that it looks like a wheat, but it's not wheat?
Oh, like that.
Tear.
Yeah. Okay.
Wheat and tear.
So the things that we have to take out of our life, we have to be to look close in the Word, because there are things that we think that is good. It looks good. Others can say, "Oh, yeah, that's good," but it's not the real thing where the Father can dwell in us, because it's some imitation, some kind of fake.
Counterfeit.
Yeah, that's what the enemy does. So, if we want to be the dwelling place, I think we have to really know the Word and
discernment.
See, yeah.
Excellent.
Isn't there a verse that says that the Word is the one that judges us, or something like a verse?
That the Word is what judges us?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
In the whole Bible.
Hold the held to that standard.
The two edges.
It says that the Torah will judge us, right?
Okay, so
Was that
Yahushua says to the Pharisees that Moses, you believe in Moses, yeah, Moses is the one that judges you, right? But if we believe in Mashiach, he becomes our judge and he doesn't judge us in the same way.
Right. Because
There's one that judges you already, right?
Right. What is it's us?
Moses. And then we are called to judge one another to...
Yeah, judgment begins at Elohim's house.
Yes. And many people will say prayer is that very thing. When you're praying, you should become introspective and not just praying for things, but asking for revelation on the things you need to change.
Right.
Looking at yourself and putting up and taking out, again, this is the pulling the tares, the things that the enemy has planted. Right? And that's going to allow the seed of the Word to be planted and come out and bear fruit. And Sylvia says, Yahushua's desire is John 17:21, that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me.
Hallelujah.
Amen. To become one with the Creator, to dwell with Him. John, the question is, what is the desire of Yahuah? Right?
Right.
So
we become one, right?
To become one with us. To
Right.
dwell with us.
Well, in us.
Yes.
That's right.
So we're the temple.
Exactly.
That's why when the voice came upon Yahushua and said, "This is my beloved son, in who I
I delight."
Because he was one with the Father. He always shows to the disciple and to everybody that he was one with the Father, and he did everything that he heard from the Father. He spoke everything that he heard from him.
Yeah.
So it's the same for us. If we want that the Father, his desire be accomplished in us, we have to be one with him. Through Yahushua, we can do it.
Only through
It's also, I think, it's important for us to stay within the Word, not wait on today to read. I think there needs to be a priority set in our routines, to set some time apart with Him, because we get distracted, so we start getting involved in other things, and the Word, which is Him, who wants to abide in us, we're not giving our priority. Yeah, we're not giving it a priority. We're not chewing it. We're not meditating. We're not studying it. And I find that when we dive into the Word and we set a time apart and we study and we meditate and we look for something that we don't understand. Like we were reading the Psalm, Diego read the Psalm and we read a word there. Tumult or something like that? Right, and some of us don't even know what that is, right? But we read over it and we pass it and we don't take the time to go back and let's look at that definition. I don't understand.
Like problems?
You know, there's times that there's a word that catches my attention, and it's, let's take it to the Hebrew. You know, unfortunately, our translation lacks that vitamin for us. So if we break it into the Hebrew, then we are looking into his language now. We are getting closer to him, and the word becomes more real. Now that we've taken a portion to chew, now we understand it, now we practice it.
Yeah.
You know, because now it's in us. It brings conviction. So we can't just say, oh, Shabbat. Yes, this is a beautiful feast. We can even dive in even deeper. But we eat every day, so it's important that we nourish our temple every day.
Going along in the same lines, John wrote to read Exodus 25:8, and it says, "And they shall make me a mikdash, and I shall dwell in their midst." So to what you're saying is how you prepare a place. You have to make it, right? So
Yeah.
you have to till it. You have to prepare a place. And an interesting thing, Adamah is spelled Aleph Dalet Mem Hey. Adam is spelled Aleph Dalet Mem. So we
Adamah
see
is earth, right?
the earth. Adamah. Adam was taken from the Adamah, right, from the earth, and he was made. And so Yahuah got the H, or the Hey, which is revelation. That letter means revelation, the spirit, the breath.
Right.
And he grabbed it, and what did he do with it? He breathed it into the Adamah, making it Adam, and making him a living being.
Right.
Making him even expanded his chest, if you will, expanded something that was closed up, and expanded to create a place for him to dwell in.
Exactly. He blew himself into Adam. Right?
What you say about the mikdash, how they have to prepare, and when we study that, what Sean said the last Shabbat about the incense, all that gives us the clue how to prepare ourselves, how to get closer and make a place with our prayers, the incense that goes, and so His Spirit can come, and we have that communication with Him.
Right.
So in Exodus 25:8, we find the word shakanti, and it means to dwell in the midst. It literally means to dwell inside them, not in a tabernacle, but in them.
And that's wonderful. And that's how he wanted to make a nation of priests. He wanted to dwell in them, and and they were all going to be priests, right? And then it got limited because of the flesh, basically.
So it's something you have to prepare, right?
Somebody want to say something?
Oh yeah.
I do want to share that, based on what John shared last week, he also talked about foundation. And in order for all that you guys mentioned to even start preparing, we need a foundation, and He is the foundation.
That's right.
So it has to be good. That's like good soil,
Totally.
The fruit will not, the plant will not give good fruit if the soil is damaged.
Right.
So that would be the foundation.
Nice.
Good foundation into Adam so that he can go ahead
And the foundation that he was made out of, and John actually mentioned that he actually blew part of himself, and we say Yod Hey Bob Hey. There's two Heys, and we see that coming in, being placed in man.
And that's His word, because isn't like it says His word, became flesh. So how does the word become flesh in us? It's the same.
By us doing it?
If we read the word and we study and we meditate, that becomes our foundation. Because now we have, and not only that, but for me also a prayer, like John was saying, and the stronger that His Spirit starts coming in, the more that He becomes like more, there's times that you could be, for prayer, for me, I walked in my neighborhood, which I always do, but this time I set some time apart for prayer, and as I was walking, I realized, I never prayed for my neighbors. Life is too busy. We don't even know our neighbors sometimes. So then, as I was walking through my neighborhood, I started praying for them. And this was like a couple of days after I had gone into the fair. It was the Spirit that led me to a time like that, because I've been seeking Him, you know. So as we continue to seek Him, there's a song that says, you know, we take a step towards Him, and He takes a lead. And I saw it that morning because I had been praying, and all of a sudden, you know, He's the one that came into me and just said, you know, let's start praying for others. You know?
Yeah.
Reminds me too, like, you know, walking around, a lot of people are doing preparation, like it's literal planting time for their plants or for their gardens. And I was thinking about preparing that soil. When Yahushua came to me, I thought, you know, He joined. The commandments were always there, you know, Yah's word was always there, and man was always there. But, you know, in order for us, I said this before, but, you know, He kind of reunited it, and He not only planted it, but He is what joined the two pieces, because we were misusing, we might have been, because we had some confusion, so He was the one that united and caused it to connect, and he causes the plant to have a place to go. I mean, because you can be a plant, you can be walking in a certain way, but if you don't have the revelation of Him, and you're a clanging cymbal or you're a ringing gong, you know, you're doing the actions, but you don't have the Father with you, and so it's like a.
So there's also.
So you're not truly a true son or daughter.
It's just like making noise.
Yeah, right. So you're not without Yahushua, we're nothing.
There's also a scripture that says that there's a fig tree and it wasn't producing, and the king said, "Well, let's take it out." And then I think the servant came and said, "Oh, let me dig a trench around it and put fertilizer, and in a year from now, if it doesn't produce anything, we'll take it out," right? And that's like what Yahushua came to do. He came to prepare those who seek Him's heart, you know, His land's heart, so that the word that Yah gave us, and He planted it deep in the heart of His followers.
Yeah, because Israel, when He came, wasn't giving fruit. It was
Right.
They were twisting the law, and there was corruption in the temple.
Yeah.
So it's like you say, He's in the parable that He came and, okay, give it time.
Yeah.
So I will put the fertilizer, the meaning.
Yeah.
So we see these three levels that need to come forth, right? And so I would say that the spiritual is like a seed. Okay, it's something that's not seen, it's hidden. It's hidden in the physical. When you plant a seed, you can't see it, right? It's in the earth. It has to die. And so the physical must be tilled so that the seed could finally spring forth, right? And then it produces the fruit. And so the spiritual commandments are from the Shamayim, given or planted into the earth for man to produce the works which are the fruit. Okay, so man is the tiller, the one preparing and producing. We have to produce. And so, do we need to produce the presence of Yahuah in our lives?
Yes.
So does that mean So exactly, yes.
What other evidence? That's another evidence that He's there.
So there's clear evidence that He's there. Our fruit shows His work in us, right?
By their fruit you shall know them. His own word says that.
Okay. Anything else?
So by their fruit, so the fruit that we are producing, you know, if I produce a lot of fruits of the Spirit, but then I never give them to anybody, then we're just gonna sit there and eventually you're gonna be taken away from me and given to other people, right? Yeah, right. Well, I was referring to that parable, like if you have a lot of coins and you don't do anything with them,
Even when you have them.
even the ones you have will be given to the other ones, right?
But yeah, it's in a hang there, it's in a rod.
Right. So then we have to understand that the fruit that we got to be producing is to take Yahuah's word to others, so that we make him spiritual sons and daughters of Yahuah. Because that is like what he said in Matthew, you know, go and teach them my commands. At the end of Matthew, right? And baptizing them in the name of Yahuah. Yahuah.
Right. So we do need to produce it, and that's what producing is showing the fruits. We know that his presence is everywhere all the time.
Hallelujah.
But we need to obey his first commandment, which is to till the earth. And we see this in Genesis 2:5. Now no shrub of the field was yet on the earth, and no plant on the field had yet sprung up. For Yahuah Elohim had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. So man was made for the very reason to till the ground, to produce his presence no matter where he is. Right?
And it reminds, I just thought about us being, like, you know how women are, a man gives and a woman's supposed to cultivate it, and if we're the bride, then we should be producing the fruit. We should be like tilling the ground in order to start producing his word. We're supposed to be manifesting. If we are the bride.
If we're the bride. Because you're getting impregnated by the seed, which is going to be producing all the wonderful fruit of the Spirit. What are the fruit of the Spirit?
The fruit of the
Love,
Spirit
joy,
is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, trustworthiness, gentleness, self-control.
Is anybody lacking any of these fruit?
I think we all have some of them at points. But we got to remember, we're all strong in others at all times.
So what do we need to do to be able to produce more of these fruits? What is it that we need to take away?
Yeah.
Children.
What are the things preventing?
What do you guys produce the fruit? Did you hear the fruit of the Spirit? What are they? On the top of your head, one of them. Love.
Good.
Joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, trustworthiness, gentleness, self-control. And so, are you guys producing these fruit continually?
Oh, very good. That's the right answer.
No, right? We're not. So what is it that's what is it that's causing us not to produce these fruit? What is it in us that causes that?
Then what causes what?
Us not to be able to produce the fruit of the Spirit.
Oh, the tribulations of this world that come pressing us, and
I would disagree with you.
I disagree.
That's when you.
Thank you.
I think for me it's our emotions and our own self, where it's just like, well, you offended me and you hurt me, and so we're moved by our ego.
Perfect. It's about me, the ego. That's.
And that happens because we cut the connection to the root. That's why we are not producing fruit, because we are not receiving all the nutrients from the root that is Yahushua.
Yeah.
And that's how we're born, right?
Yeah, we're born off the root. We got to graft.
I got something to say. We're lacking spending time and eating the vitamin, our word. If we don't stay in our word, if we don't, not just like a regular reading, we can't just read, like we read a book and now we're like, okay, now I'm going to go and do what this is saying. No, we have to meditate and really chew that word. Let it sink inside our heart. Let us search it out, because then that word becomes something that moves you. You know, like Crystal was saying, you know, the garden, you know, the seed. If the seed is in the soil, what are we going to do it? We have to water it. How do we water it? The word, right? The word is the water. You know, we put vitamin. That's the word. Everything goes to the word.
Exactly agreeing with what you said and what Bianca said. It's ego because, like, if you haven't prepared, you only have 24 hours in a day, and you only have
12 hours in a day.
Excuse me. You only have so much time in a day to devote. And I mean, am I going to devote this time to personal pursuits? You know, my own ambitions. Hey, I'm going to fix my hair a special way. You know, or how much time you're spending in the Word. But it's also preparation. Like, are you prepared? Have you pulled the weeds? Have you pulled out your own selfishness, your own greed? Have you prepared your soil?
Have you tilled the ground?
Spiritually. Have you pulled out the weeds and blocked out the lies of the enemy?
Mm-hmm. So, exactly, in agreement. So do you guys understand what the ego is? Diego? Do you know what the ego is?
Not an ego, but the ego.
Ego.
E-G-O. It's like a person's
Yeah.
Display themselves? Like they're prideful, you're saying?
They're selfish.
They're show-offs?
Selfish and...
Right. And it's because everybody has an ego, and everybody's most concerned about themselves instead of other people. And some people, it gets extreme cases that they become prideful. It's more obvious than in some, but like mostly all the time you're doing something because you're going to get something in return, right? That is egotistic. And what we have to become is altruistic, which is selfless, being willing to give without expecting anything in return.
Where does that word come from?
I don't know, man.
Because I never heard that before.
I heard it in Spanish. I know it.
Yeah. And so what?
Sorry, I have something to say. In my own experience, that's all I can share. You know, when you're in the Word, now now you become accountable for what you're reading. So when I'm seeking the Father, He's going to put me in situations that it's going to test that area.
Yeah.
You know, so the Word is the Word that's going to test us. We don't even, some things just move because, again, it's the Father that's testing our heart. So it's if we stay in our Word, it's going to come and test us. I mean, if it tests us, you're going to be able to see now your own behavior, your own actions, how you respond. Like we said, if we are in the Word and somebody gives us a harsh answer, and we have to be patient or love. If we're in the Word is putting us in that situation. Because we were saying, how do we rejoice in the testing if the testing is hard? Easy. If the Word is in us, that test is going to be something for us to now make us produce and show the fruit.
That's what James says. James 1:22 says, and become doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourself. Because if anyone's a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks at his natural face in a mirror. For he looks at himself and goes away and immediately forgets what he was like. But he that looketh into the perfect Torah, that of freedom, and continues in it, not becoming a hearer that forgets, but a doer of works, this one shall be Baruch in his doing.
James
1:22-25.
And I also think with ego, we're looking at how you waste your time and why you're not how you're behaving and how your works. But there's also the spiritual part of ego where, like, if God cannot dwell in you if you don't surrender completely, and if you don't say, I need you. If you say, I'm smart enough to get through this situation, I'm cute enough to get through the situation, I have enough money to get through this situation. When you fail to surrender, that's another part of ego.
Yeah.
So when we make room for Him in our trust, when we put our faith completely, and it's hard to lay down your crown and take it off your head and put it back where it belongs. And so that's another part of ego, I think, spiritually.
Right.
Can I say something? That reminds me of the conversion of Shaul. Because he was a religious man, he was perfect in the law, he did everything that the law said. you know. But until he didn't have that encounter with
Yahuah.
and he has to fail and he has to be humble.
Right.
That was a moment where Yahuah started dwelling in him when he recognized his humbleness.
Yes.
He had to be humble.
Right.
Hallelujah.
Then the scales came off his eyes,
Right.
and he could actually see.
And he did a lot of fruit.
Yeah.
And imagine that experience just alone, you know, to see a Father move, because he does move like that. That's what I'm saying. You know, our Father is powerful. He moves in a way that you're just overwhelming seeing that he does these things. We barely are scratching the little surface.
Little.
Really,
So-
dive in the Word and make that.
You're able to see him move when you destroy the ego.
Right.
So that's when he's allowed to, because you can't have two spirits inhabiting the same place, right?
There's only
Yeah.
so much room.
Hold on. I was going to say something. Right, so what was the first, for all of us, what was that first moment that made us question our ego or gave us the understanding that there's something besides us that we need to submit to?
When we fall, when we fail.
Well, we get hit bottom like a lot of times.
Yeah.
Right, but like what was the moment in your life that you were able to finally
For me, it was when I heard Yah speak to me, or allow me to understand 2 Chronicles 7:14.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good. I mean, it's
yeah,
good.
that's
But I want to go
really-
even before that.
Before that, I was trying.
For me, like personally, it was when I was challenged that there is something bigger and higher than just
Something outside of yourself.
Yeah.
It's when we submitted to the Mashiach. It's when we gave our lives
Right.
up and accepted Yahushua Mashiach.
Yeah, with
So
the
that's step
Hebraic
one.
understanding of it, because when I was a Christian, I was still, I received Jesus right away. I was like, yeah. But then I didn't know I had to turn my life, and that's when Yah spoke to me through 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people that will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I'll hear their prayers and heal their land. So then when he let me understand that I had to turn from my wicked ways, because I was like, yeah, forgive me. Yeah. And then I wasn't turning.
So exactly.
So finding Messiah is step one.
It's step one. That instantly puts up a screen
Right.
that blocks the ego because you're realizing that you're not living for yourself anymore. If you truly understand what it is to give your life to Mashiach.
Right.
And so you're realizing now you're bought. You're no longer your own,
Purchased.
right? You're purchased by the blood of Mashiach,
Hallelujah.
which means what? You're a slave to Mashiach. But we know being a slave to be alive in Mashiach or dead in Mashiach is life.
Right.
Real life.
We have to give our lives up. We're supposed to die daily. Bianca wanted to share something? No?
As far as because I was thinking about how the Father breathed into us, right, and how He gave us the revelation, He gave us part of Him. So I was reading this book called Anatomy of the Soul, and I'm just going to read a little portion of it. So it says that off is the Hebrew word for nose, but it also means anger, as in Deuteronomy 9:19. I refer to the off, anger, and then in another sense, the nose also represents patience, as in Exodus 34:6, literally of extended nose. And the example given is long of breath, slow to anger, and patient. So, so what I was thinking was that the Father, we have both like the good seed and the bad seed, because obviously we did fall, and so it's the evil inclination within us, and it's our desire to overcome that anger and to be slow and to start practicing His gifts, and to once we actually seek Him and die to ourselves, then we can go ahead and start reproducing that self-control and the patience and the joy. Because I know, for me, it's hard if somebody's annoying me. I'm not happy. I'm You know, so for me, it's a way to practice the patience and the Father. And we have 2 entrances, you know, so it's just like, what are we going to let into our bodies is what I got. And then, and before he created man, it says, Genesis 2:5, it says, no shrub of the field was yet on the earth, and no plant of the field had yet sprung up, for Yahuah Elohim had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. But a mist went up from the earth and watered the entire surface on the ground. And so we saw that the Father had to send water first, and then I was reading this other book, and it says that water can also represent mercy.
The light of mercy.
The light of mercy. Like, he bestows mercy onto us first. And so, like, even before being breathed in the anger and the patience, the Father gave us mercy first. And so it was like we were always covered from the very beginning. At least that's how.
Is that like the mist in the beginning?
Exactly.
The mist is all over.
Yeah. It comes straight out of the ground.
Yeah. Yes.
So we need to have a layer of mercy on us, or else we're going to be strictly evil.
Yes.
You know, we're going to have the evil inclination, the egoism which is represented by the earth.
Is the mist that comes out of our ground would be like our blood, like coming from?
Life is in the blood. I mean, Yahuah, you know. But I would say that comes from us. Is the word, is Yahushua's spirit. That's the baptism of the Ruach HaKodesh, the neshama. Huh?
Sweat.
Oh, yeah, nice. Oh, good point.
That's a product of our work. That means you've been working on something.
And what comes out of there? What comes out with the sweat comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So man was called to work. It's a decision man has to make too. It's like within himself. Like, you know, Yah's not going to force you to tend the garden, or he didn't force Adam. Adam did that, but by doing so, he's going to have delicious things to eat, and he's going to have sustenance. We need, I think, especially to stay in the Word so that we have something or some nourishment for our soul. Otherwise, we'll go starving. You know, but it's something you choose to do, right?
Yeah.
What if there's no?
It's written in our hearts, isn't it?
Yeah. So
if there's no Bible,
what is? Okay, so if you wish on to us, and like the Israelites, when they were cruising around for 40 years, they didn't have a.
Well, they had oral.
But they were able to hear as words, so they could listen to me.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what commands were in place.
Listen.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So if we don't hear and do, that's what Shema is hear and do.
Hallelujah.
So you've got to be able to. That's why we have to be silent every day, or as much as possible. We can't be silent. We need to hear it.
Yeah.
In terms of which one is his and which one.
Right, and that's why she's saying just to remain in the Word, so that you know how to discern when you hear it and when you don't. Right. Because a lot of Christians or a lot of pastors nowadays are just like saying things that sound great, but then you look at the Bible and you're like, hold on, what was that? That's against it. And then it sounded great, but
I have like you know, for me, my mom taught me about God. You know, obviously, you know, she's a believer, and when I was young, she would, but I would just read and go on with my life. Like, you know, it wasn't until I started making my own choices, my own decisions, what I thought was good.
How old are you?
And well, when I started doing my thing, at 18, I started doing my thing.
right.
You know, I thought I'm 18, I'm older, and I can make my decisions, and you know. But you know, and then I ended up doing my own mistakes,
Right.
and those mistakes, you know, I was broken, you know, because of my choices. And then that's when I said, God, my mom has told me about you. People tell me about you, but I don't know who you are, honestly. Because obviously I'm doing my own thing, you know, and I don't seek you, so I don't know who you are. So I said, I want to know who you are. And I was honest, you know. And at that point, I opened my ears, and I just was opening my eyes to see, where are you? And I would ask them, where are you? And I will seek them, read a book, or try different churches, you know. And like his word said, he's faithful. If you are willing to seek him, he will meet you. And my journey has started at that point. And people were labeling me, now you're a Christian or now you're this. And I was like, you know what? I'm not about religion. I'm about this God that he taught me that he moved in a cloud. He moved in a fire. That's the God that I want to know. And he started opening doors for me where I encounter this God that he speaks to me and he moves and he is awesome and great and powerful. And I don't want to stay in the same place. I want to keep ascending because, guys, the world is cold and it's hard. I just saw a lot of people really broken, really hard, following the ways of the world. And I was looking at them thinking, Father, now I know what you mean when you see people that don't have you because they are following their ways and they're broken and hard. If they would only understand who you are, it wouldn't have to be this hard.
So John asked the question, when do we pull the weeds up and out?
When we recognize them.
When we recognize them.
Yeah. Because that's what the Ruach will give you conviction to see it.
Because if it's too soon, you'll pull up the good stuff too. You'll go.
Yeah.
Well, here, Robert has something.
And also those weeds. It's almost as if it's the moment of like, yeah.
Yep, and the Ruach tells you.
In that moment, now is the only time you can do something about it.
Yep.
And that thought hits you.
Yep.
Here, that's now. Yeah. So at that point, we have a choice.
Yeah.
Are we going to dig into that, right? Or are we going to uproot it? If we uproot it, say at that point, it might come back. We can uproot it again. It might come back. Depending upon how strong it is, it might experience. No. Throw it out again. It eventually won't come back.
So, but there's an interesting part. When the fruit of it is seen. So it has to manifest for you to really understand if it's going to be. And I mean, this could get more subtle because there's obvious tears right away. We understand that.
Some of them, like in my life, I already know what the fruit is going to be. So now I recognize that I pulled it out. So then, like as soon as the seed is like around my ground, I try to like get it out of there.
Sometimes it's like a frog in a boiling pot, though. You go with it with the good intentions. Wide is the road to hell, and you might say, "Well, I'm doing this for the glory of the Father," and then it starts to slowly evolve and progress to something negative. And I mean, it could be something that until it starts to manifest, you don't realize how far you've gone off astray. It sometimes takes the mirror to look at it.
It's like, for example, if there is some bad fruit in your life, like anger, for example. Okay, you cannot say, okay, I will control myself. I won't get angry. You won't get angry 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, but then you will explode.
Yeah.
Because you have
and it's
to
called the atom bomb.
Yeah. You have to go to the root. Why I'm getting angry? What I'm doing, Father, show me. So in prayer, you have to humble and look for the answer. That Yah will show you why you are getting angry. And
John says that there's different harvests, right? So there's different times where you have to pull out the tares before the wheat or barley or whatever it is. Meaning that he actually also said that we are called to be fruit inspectors. So we have to be that kind of person that's inspecting the fruit that we're producing, being able to be humbled by the fruit inspectors that are our brothers. If we have come together, we have asked each other to tell us if we're sinning, if hold us accountable, exactly. So are we able to be humbled to that? We say we are, but how many of us are actually living it, right? How many of us get offended as soon as something is brought up and just leave? We've seen it happen. And so we have to be fruit inspectors. And that is what my mom was saying is you have to be very introspective, very much in prayer and honest, exactly.
And also, Bernie, I think the feast is something that, for me, you know, has really helped me, because I think in my feast, once they start coming, then you start preparing. And you start looking, because like the ego, that was part of our counting of the Omer. You know, when we started counting the Omer is when we started looking at ourselves, and then the Father started bringing little pieces together, you know, and we're like, oh my God, where'd you get that book? And, you know, and it's all the Father orchestrating all that. And then we ended up seeing some things in ourselves, you know, and then a little bit after that, the testing started coming, at least for me, you know, where I was like, oh man, like you said, you know, there it is, I see it, you know, and now what do? Seek the Word, seek the Father, pray to Him, and help me, because in Him we have victory, and I'm not going down by this ugly thing. So I think the feasts have been set there for a purpose.
Yeah, I look at the feast of Yahuah as a stabilizer, because, you know, like, we're living our lives and stuff, and then it's like Shabbat, oh, we come right back to, you know, where we gotta be, and we praise Yah, and it like always stabilizes you in His path. You know, even, I mean, of course, Passover, unleavened bread, first fruit, you know, Shavuot, I gotta say them all now. Feast of Trumpet, you know, Yom Kippurim, the Korim, and Sukkot, and Shemini Atzeret, even. So these feasts are always to bring us back, and, you know, that we're on path. Because if we were going off path, then the feast comes, and we come back, and we started doing an introspection even more, you know? Like around the feast is when we really press in.
Yeah.
So it's really...
It's the time of harvest. It's the time where you have to...
Yeah, now like our fruits are going to start, Yahuah's going to come and get our fruits, we better produce.
Exactly.
And then so, because of that, I was looking at the book of Yobelim, and the book of Jubilees, and I thought it was really awesome, so I'm going to read it. Okay, so the book of Jubilees 1:22 to 25, I don't know, or something. Yahuah said to Moshe, I know their contrariness, and their thoughts, and their stiff-neckedness, and they will not be obedient till they confess their own sin and the sin of their fathers. So you see that there's like work that we got to do is confessing our sins and confessing the sins of our fathers, because the generational curses get passed down, right? So, and then after this, they will turn to me in all uprightness and with all their heart and with all their soul, and I will circumcise the foreskin of their heart and the foreskin of the heart of their seed, and I will create in them a Kodesh, set apart spirit in them. I will create in them a Kodesh and set apart spirit, and I will cleanse them so that they shall not turn away from me from that day unto eternity, and their souls will cleave to me and to all my commandments, and I will be their Abba, their father, and they shall be my children.
Yes.
See? So when we start doing the work, the tilling the ground, which is our sin, confessing our sin because of Yahushua's powerful blood and the sin of our fathers. A lot of people are like, this is my own personal journey with Jesus or with Yahushua, you know. But we're all included because we're one body. So, you know, it's not just me. It's me now, me and my wife now, me and my whole family now. I mean, it's always been, you know. But first you do it yourself. Then you start understanding more, because He allows you to understand that it's everyone around you that's confessing, and you got to help each other till each other's ground so that you're all watchmen and stay on path.
And I just said I was thinking one more thing about, you know, allowing the Father to dwell within us. When there's something called a weed mat we've been using, like, you know, to block out the weeds so they can't sprout up. But we have to make sure that, like Shada was saying, you know, hear His voice, or we adjust the scales in your eyes. Make sure that those holes, those doors to your temple are not blocked, you know, so that the Word can get in, our praises can come out. You know, close up your mouth, your eyes, your ears, those special doors to your temple,
Right.
and make sure that the
We gotta set guards on them. This
yeah. Well, the ruach, allow the ruach.
Yeah, definitely.
So
he can dwell in us.
That's right.
exactly. So you're saying put a mat, right?
Yeah.
A weed mat, a screen, something that's keeping
Yeah.
the ego from penetrating
interaction.
Interacting with us, causing us to be influenced by our ego.
Right.
You need to have a screen, right?
Yeah.
And then, so as you put a screen, now you're blocked light. You're gonna see what more
things you gotta block out.
You might see some weeds that you thought were not weeds,
plants,
right? Or plants. You're like, wait a second, my zealousness of Torah Nazi-ness is actually bad. It's actually egotistic.
Yeah.
And so you have to what? Put up another weed, and you have to continue to put screens to block the ego. And so, what something we've read is that as soon as you let something that you know is a weed or it's egotistic, and you let that break through the screen, now you have to do the whole process again to put the screen up. It's harder. And as soon as once you block it off, it's easy to keep it off, right? We've all gone through an experience like that. Whereas as soon as you fall into sin, you tend to do the sin continually for a while. Until
sin brings more sin.
Exactly.
It's like a repetitive behavior, so it's no longer you doing it, but the sin in you doing it. You know.
Can I read the Habakkuk? Yeah, so somebody online mentioned Habakkuk 2:1-4. And it says, I stand at my watch and station myself on the watchtower and wait to see what he says to me and what to answer when I am reproved. And Yahuah answered me and said, write the vision and inscribe it on tablets so that he who reads it runs. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, and it speaks of the end and does not lie. If it lingers, wait for it shall certainly come. It shall not delay. See, he whose being is not upright in him is puffed up, but the righteous one lives by his steadfastness.
What is it? What's it?
It's Habakkuk 2:1-4, and then they also mention 14. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the esteem of Yahuah as the waters cover the sea.
Hallelujah. So, what is the purpose of this?
So that we prepare our temples so that the indwelling spirit could take residence in us.
Exactly. You're preparing your temple, your place, for the Ruach, the Spirit, the Yahuah himself could come and dwell with his people, with you, in your midst.
And empower you completely.
Exactly.
Empower me completely. How's that? Empower us.
Does anybody have anything else?
What about the 1, 2, 3? The sound started.
No. Rosa? You good? So he will dwell in us.
Right. He is dwelling in us right now. That's one of the things that today, like we could look at God or Elohim, but we got to realize He's our Father now.
Daddy.
He's our dad, and He's correcting those whom He receives, right? So when He's correcting us, it's so that He could dwell even more in us. It's not so that we get mad or so that I get mad and I get all, but it's so that I could change and transform.
He has a lot of mercy because we
a lot of mercy.
So we see again this 3-level thing that we see is the Shamayim, the Adam, the Eretz, right? The heavens, the man, and the earth. And we can look at this in a different way. Is the nation, starting from the heavens, is being sons and daughters of Elohim, right? And we get that through how? Through Yahushua's atonement.
And that's the first
and the
thing to destroy your ego is to turn and say, I receive you, Yahushua. And that's the only way we're going to be able to start transforming.
When you say, there's a second time I heard destroy the ego.
Yeah.
I don't think I see more of a question. Do we destroy it because we can? He eliminate it.
Right.
Well, control it. Yeah.
Control.
Good
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish we could destroy it. Then we won't.
That's when Yahushua comes. That's when Yahushua comes. He'll have no more ego. And yeah, that's putting the screen, putting a blockage from the so the ego cannot come.
Because we want to control things. We don't want to.
If you have control to use that ego for good.
Yes, actually, that's how we ought to use it.
Because that spirit and our ego can be aligned more perfectly.
But it won't be.
So the ego, what is the ego again? It's something that's always wanting.
Yeah, always wanting.
So if our want,
we're gonna be satisfied.
if our want is to give, then that's what Yahuah is. That's what he does. He gives freely. So if we're doing that, that's us using the ego for good. But you see, it's not really the ego functioning.
Right.
Exactly. And so then we see the first level of sons and daughters, and then I don't know how to explain this.
Yeah. So, like for me, it was first we started off as goyim. We started out in the nations, and we were very egotistical. We were living for ourselves and what we wanted, right? Like I know for me, I wanted to go to school to gain a career and to get that house so that I can become somebody. So right there, it's all my ego. And then I realized that, okay, now we have to become Israel, and that's knowing the word, and that's studying it, and for, like gaining his revelation of Yahushua that I do need him. So that was my second level. But I can't just stop at the knowledge. For me, or for everybody, it should be we need to strive to be true sons and daughters, which isn't just knowing the word, but it's manifesting and tilling the ground and doing the work to be called a son and a daughter, because the Father did have mercy on me to bring me out from the nations to put me to a higher level.
Also, we go with the change of priesthood.
Oh,
We are more than the Levitical or
that's why we
some religious. We want the perfect communion with the Father. That is the Melchizedek priest.
Woo! Hallelujah.
We can never be satisfied. We can keep climbing.
So, Crystal was saying.
Oh no, I was just thinking just separate. It's a secular word. There's the id, the ego, and the superego. And I was thinking that's kind of like the animal nature, and then we go a little higher, and then you find the nefesh, then the neshama, and then the ruach. I mean, we're trying to really attain and be with him. So it feels like you're still climbing like a tomato plant, climbing like a vine. So I that's what I was thinking too. Those three terms. It's like these three levels.
Right.
Another picture that I found. Yes.
It's
pretty intense. I saw this recently, and it really caught my eye.
Here, give us, so we can show the camera.
When,
There's a camera right there.
he wants us to see.
You gonna read it?
What is that?
No, it's just
Oh, it's a picture.
It's a picture.
Oh no.
This is how we limit ourselves when we develop our own ego.
When we develop
Oh wow, that's a good
with
picture.
ourselves, you know.
Oh my.
Wow.
It's sad.
Yeah, you're blocking out.
You're blocking out. You're blocking yourself from His goodness, from
the flow of the ruach
from
through
the
you.
ruach.
Oh, in and out of you.
Yes.
Oh,
That's intense.
intense.
So, okay, so John said something. How can I prepare a dwelling place for Yahuah that he desires?
How can we what?
Well, I think Yahushua, he set apart time so that we could be sanctified in, and that's why we have Shabbat, because he wants to meet with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in Shabbat we study the Torah so that we are sanctifying our bodies and become a temple for Elohim to indwell us, and we could, all like forever.
And also, I remember one teaching of John that he says that Yahuah is looking for a true worshiper. John reminded me.
Right. Okay.
The Father is looking for.
Right.
Mario said, my son said, this is a good point, but keep in mind that the screen just keeps the stem from popping up. The roots are still
Right,
there.
right.
There is still a possibility for the roots to grow back up.
Yeah.
But I would agree with that, but saying that we are still not made complete. We only have the Ruach HaKodesh in part.
Right.
It says, and it won't be till the return of Mashiach that we'll be made as He
Right.
is.
Twinkling of
And
an
so
eye.
it is something that's going to be continual and
Yeah. And
But-
that's what we're
Every day. That's what
Huh?
Every day.
That's what Robert
Oh, yeah.
Once the weed grows and you gotta pull it out.
Yeah.
I think it's all you gotta
And but the interesting, if you put multiple screens, the weaker root won't be able to pop out again, and you are going to be forcing or struggling with something more intense. And if you cut that one, if you put another screen over on top of that one, that's going to even further your relationship with the Creator.
Eventually the spirit will overcome it.
Right, and it's a process until finally He does return and completely purifies us.
Right. We can't uproot everything in our lives. There's always going to be something, like, I mean, we can uproot the big things that pop through the screen. I guess,
I think that, yeah, we are taking things,
Well, we
but
should-
we are ascending. So you think we can, but the other things we have to just leave it.
Yeah, they'll be done. Yeah.
Just continue
And
ascending.
I was reading in our Torah portion how, the Father allowed, Joshua and to go and take that land. And that land had big walls around it. I mean, this wall was very well protected, but the Father wanted to show in the physical that there's no big walls for Him. There's nothing, we all know there's nothing impossible. So I believe that the Father can remove roots,
Yeah, definitely.
And that was the good thing about that Torah portion, right? That the report that the spies came,
Yeah.
the battle report shows what these people had in their heart. They didn't trust Yahuah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it was, yeah, so that shows. And Moses could see in them what really was in them, that it was a wicked.
Wicked.
Yeah,
Wicked.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in Joshua and in Caleb, they brought, because they saw how the land was, and they saw also the giants, but they trust in Yahuah and say, let's go and take possession of that,
And it reminds me of David, because Goliath was this big old person. Yeah. But David was just like, nah, man, I got Yahushua, like Yahushua. Like, how is that gonna stop me, And he went and he tackled it. So
It's where we have our eyes on. If we have in the physical world or in the troubles, the circumstances, or we have our eyes on our Elohim.
and he is our strength.
And I'm sorry, Moni, I know you wanted to say
No,
something.
okay. So I want to give an example because I've been, I planted, some seeds and they're sprouting like crazy. And my garden is getting filled crazy out. But the other day, when I first got, I went to the garden and I saw a batch of mushrooms. I'm like, I remember planting mushrooms. So I'm like, why do I have mushrooms in my garden? And it's so very, it resembles the weeds because it's fungus, and so that affects the garden as well. So, I removed the mushrooms and they came back. So I just, same thing with what you guys are describing. I need to keep pulling the mushrooms so that they don't contaminate the soil.
Those are some things that I believe, because nothing happens just to happen. Nothing is a coincidence. I believe that the Father's always speaking to us, so He reveals things in the physical. And we need to, if we're in touch with Him, we need to take that physical that He's showing us into the spiritual. Because He's trying to speak to us. Your garden has your attention.
Yes, it does.
And that's how He can come and speak to you about things about you. And we all have things, like you said, when we're inspecting ourselves, and then they brought this up, like, oh, great, here we go. And then they talked about the ego, and I'm like, oh, yes, the ego, But yeah, the Father showed me my mushrooms, you know, and I needed to remove them, and I took them out, and then it comes back because the Word will test us. The Word will test us.
So,
but you come victorious.
Yes.
So we had to go to the water, right, which is this Word that's cleansing us, purifying us, baptizing us, and that's gonna wash away the grime, the dirt, and allow us to distinguish what is right, what is the weed and the tare. And mushrooms. Yeah, mushrooms. Some people eat mushrooms. You actually get mushrooms because there's too much water. So. But
Really?
yeah.
I have water and then the boys have water, so yes, I have a lot of water.
And so, by saying this, we are in the same condition as Adam was in the garden.
The first Adam.
Spiritually speaking, in a sense.
Right.
That
before he fall.
We're born again, we are in his presence.
Right.
But we have we have the choice to eat again from the tree of knowledge and good and evil, or to eat from the tree of life.
Right.
And every choice we make is a choice of life or death, to walk in obedience or not. And we should again be a people that are slow to speak, quick to hear, slow to anger, slow to wrath, and slow, and quick to repent. What's the other word? Long suffering with one another and selfless.
Yes.
Yeah. Mario says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, when you encounter trials for many trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance."
Hallelujah.
And he continues, James 1:3-4, "Allow perseverance to finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Mark Scheinfeld says, "Blessed be the Lamb of Elohim, who is worthy of our praise.
Right.
Praise his precious Kodesh name, holy name to the King. We raise our hands in adoration, our voice in one accord. Glory to the Lamb of Elohim. Glory to Yahuah." Hallelujah. Does anybody want to continue and add any other thoughts, ideas of Yahuah's?
Does anybody have questions? Bernie wants to answer.
We're good.
Yeah.
Thank you for the information on mushrooms. I will water less.
Yeah.
Any questions you guys have? Anything to discuss?
How do you guys feel about extra biblical books?
I feel a lot of them are great.
Yeah. I've been reading Second Clement.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one's really. Yeah, and I was looking at the Book of Jubilees again, and I like that one. Yeah.
They found most of those in Dead Sea Scrolls.
Oh yeah. That's right. I was looking at them. The Dead Sea Scrolls they got some books that I haven't even heard of, and they're awesome. I mean, I've read them, but pretty awesome.
When you read it, you will see if they are in the connection with the word.
Totally.
So,
And most of them are. Most of them are upholding Yahuah.
and it will bring more
Revelation.
details, more revelation.
Yeah. That's what I like about it.
Randy asked something.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what was spoken? We want to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
Does anything ring true to you?
What was your favorite part?
What's the difference between an ego or having an ego and being confident?
I like that.
I think we talked about it.
We have.
Ego and confidence.
What did I say?
So, what I would think, having an ego is a selfish act, and it's like the counterfeit of confidence. That you think you're confident, but you're just being selfish about it, you know. And that's what, you know. But being yeah, Mama.
I think ego is when you're chasing desires that are strictly from the flesh, and I think confidence is when you know who you are because you found your foundation in Yahuah. When you have the right foundation and you feel comfortable because, like David and Goliath, you know, he's got your back. So you have confidence, like David had confidence.
Yeah, and one part that
Instead of bragging.
I don't remember where it is, but in the word said that we have to be confident in Mashiach. And also the difference will be the fruits.
Right.
For the fruits you will know if it is egoism or if it is confidence, what you have.
Yeah.
Because the fruit will be very,
Evident.
and you will know, is for me or is for him.
Yeah, imagine him right next to you. And it's like, what would he think about it when he's right next to you? Would he be saying, calm it down, Brittany? Or would he say, yeah, go ahead, you got this, sweetheart?
So, if we believe the scripture to be true, it becomes as simple as this. Is what you want the desire of Yahuah or not? Is it scriptural or not? You see, you know what I'm saying? Because you could be doing something good according to your own views, you know, but if it's not within his desire, like giving him, I'm not going to say anything, but because I don't get myself trapped. But I'm not giving anything. But you know what I'm saying? And so what does that mean? You have to really understand his word, at least, you know it to a point where you could say, I know my Creator and I know what He expects from me.
And he'd be happy with it.
No, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, we have a question. John asked the question, what function as the desired place of Yahuah are we supposed to operate in?
Good question.
As priests?
As priests, I like that. What function as the desired place? So what is our function as the desired place of Yahuah? So, that's what I think he's asking. Huh?
Also, it's like
Yeah.
But what does that mean?
the body machine.
Being totally focused on all the time what he wants us to do.
Yeah, it's following his commands. I mean, as
being servants?
yeah.
Cool.
Being
So-
hands and feet in the physical realm, right?
Oh,
So, sorry, it's hard to keep things in track.
Yeah.
From the beginning, if Yahuah breathed His life in us, we are His temple at that time, but did not prevent us from sinning. Is He here? Oh, there's a question. Sorry. To continue with John's question first, to be a house of prayer, would you guys agree?
Yeah.
And John actually says, "Ani tefillah," I am prayer.
Yeah.
So that's he what?
Not yesterday, last one.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Ani tefillah, priest. I like it. And that's done at a temple, functioning and.
And the body, because not everybody has the same also function.
Mm.
We will have different, but we are connected because we are one body.
To be a body and to have different functions within the body.
But if we're not in prayer, then we're not knowing what he wants us to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only way that we can find out is if we're asking.
That's like He's the lifeline.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead. And we're like the arms and legs, and He's the brain that's sending the signal, the electrical impulse, and saying, do this, and if we work together, like a body works together, like your arms aren't doing opposite things at the same time,
Whoa.
So we're supposed to be in the physical realm because He's in the spiritual, maybe like that. His
So it's
temples, His vessels.
And it says to be that done that's connecting the spiritual to the physical. Being allowing to bear the fruit.
So we're the ones connecting the spiritual to the physical right now. Like kingdom come, thy will be done on the earth as it is in Hashamayim.
And so, shall we move to the next question?
Yes.
From the beginning, if Yahuah breathed His life in us, and we were His temple at that time, but that did not prevent us from sinning, is He here in us now, or just with us, or do we have to wait on His return?
He's here now.
Oh,
Yeah, all of them actually,
Like,
in
we
different
have to
stages.
open our doors. We have to allow him. It's a choice. He's not just going to force his way into you, right? We have to.
Yeah. It
accept
depends
him
what
and-
level you want him to be in you, and you allow him, or you.
So are they asking
And he
because
gave
we
different
sin?
measures of faith.
Is he in us?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a tough
what was the answer? What's John's answer?
What's the answer?
Yeah. answer.
John's kept keeping.
You are.
I think we're in a process. We're in a process because His Spirit, there's times where His Spirit let us also walk in the Spirit. But I think some of us are still, we're still walking in some of that flesh. And we're still in battle. So how strong He is in us.
We
Yeah.
have to grow, and it's a
So He
process.
increases our
But
portion.
we need the food so we can grow.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think, Bernie? I'm here just.
I am waiting for to expound on that question.
Just the answer there.
No, there is no right answer. I don't think.
So I would say His presence is here continually, always. Like you said, different stages. We're still waiting for the fullness of the Ruach HaKodesh to be made in us. So we actually, it's written that we only have it in part.
So we're like Shavuot, huh? Waiting for the 5,000
Yeah.
years.
The Jubilee.
Jubilee.
120. Jubilee.
Exactly.
But yeah, exactly. So
I agree with
sorry.
Go ahead. After you're done.
It's hard. Sorry.
Like 5 things.
It's hard to read.
The not prevention sinning. Is He here now, or is He just with us? So we are waiting His return.
Yeah.
He is here now in our presence. We have a open communication with Him.
Yeah, He's in our body
Through prayer.
as well. He said, "I will never leave you or forsake you. I'll be with you everywhere you go." What?
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah. So I believe it.
I think too, like you said, the seed is like His word, and like it's always existed. I mean, He's always been there. He's omnipresent. But I think that like a connection is what's missing. It's not that we're always here, and His word is always there, and His presence and the Ruach is here. But we need Mashiach to connect it so we understand. We need that. Not high. What is it? The other word, hey. We need the hey.
Hey revelation.
We need the hey. We need to reveal why we need to do it. So we need the revelation of like, this is why we're changing our behavior. This is why we're going to stop falling into sin.
And by doing that, you're allowing more of the Spirit to come in, because again, His Spirit is abounding. It's not something limited. Only is how much are you willing to cut off of the physical realm, the ego, to be able to receive His Spirit. And that is dependent on each and every person.
Yeah.
And so there's no limitation to how much Ruach He could give you.
I thought He gave you a limit, a measure of faith.
Of faith. Is that different? Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Let's try to get this simple.
I'm saying.
Are we waiting? And we do know there's going to be an outpouring of the Spirit later, a double portion, and there's these things that we know are happening, are going to happen.
And I mean, I think we're all limited right now for this complete restoration by the flesh that we have to be in this realm until He comes back.
Put limitation.
What?
He doesn't have limitation.
And so how?
It's impossible for Him.
So how do you break the limitation?
Flesh and blood doesn't inherit the kingdom.
Right.
Then the limitations He put on us because we have flesh and blood.
But
So
we
we
have to
break the
lead
limitations.
by the Spirit.
Of course.
How about,
Yeah, but I mean,
how
I
about
understand.
when we put limitations, we know it's our flesh.
Yeah.
One of the things for me that because I fast. There's times that I said, no, I don't want this flesh. I don't want this food. I want you. I want you to show yourself. I want you to show me even what's not right in me so that I can be a little bit more righteous and draw closer to you. So if I fast because I want to know him. You know, I pray. You know, I mean, I want this relationship because he is good. He is light. And I've seen him I see my life without him, and I see my life with him. And to me, there's just no way that I would go back, not knowing this Elohim that is all powerful, all knowing, and is telling me, come to me. I want you to be close to me. So to me, it's like, I'll fast.
To me, what she's saying is, we know that we are closer to him by Yahuah. Nothing that we did, just accepting that gift make us closer to him. But now is the sanctification process. So this we have to press in the sanctification if we want to receive more of his life.
That's right.
You know, that's why we have to make our flesh
disappear.
Yeah, even what we put in our temples, you know, to me before it wouldn't, you know, I would be like, well, I don't think food matters. You know, I would still be doing eating stuff that wasn't even good for me. And the more that I seek them, he's shown me why I don't want you to eat this stuff. Aside from not being healthy for me, you know, and decaying my body, you know, it makes it dirty for him to come and abide stronger in me. Because like you said, you know, I don't know, from when I started to now, I mean, he's become even stronger, and I can't even imagine how it is to keep drawing. So
what you're doing is because you have tasted and seen that he is good, and so you want more of that.
Yes.
So for you to get to that point, what do you have to do? I mean, we all have, and most of us here have a testimony of something that's happened in our lives that we were able to taste and see that he was good, that has caused us to want to seek him and search him and open ourselves up and kill and destroy our flesh, or not destroy, and put away our flesh so that he could come in and dwell within us.
And I think it was you, Ruben, that mentioned like how you can't completely destroy your ego, but once we acknowledge the bad part of our ego, and once we start going through that purification process and stuff like that, then the ego of desiring him and wanting his desires for our life, then we start like wanting more, and like it becomes addicting, you know, like I know addiction's always seen as a bad word, but like, you know, but you become addicted, and like then you can't go a day without reading your word or without prayer, or, you know, we have to wake up and, you know, think about him first. And so
he's your first.
Yeah, and so I think that's a good way to tie in the ego too, because there is no limit. Like the ego isn't, we're always gonna have it. So we should always have that desire, that yearning to want to go ahead and expand and grow more, and we shouldn't be satisfied.
And that reminds me of the parable of the talents. You know that he gives to one, he gives 10 talents. Talents, you say? Yeah. Another give 5, another give 1. And the one who had 10, he wants more, so he put it, and so he produced more, you know. And when he came, he was glad with it. So we have to produce more. We have to press in him. Yes. That's what she was saying.
And just continuing. So what happens when you see and you have tasted? You have to continue to see and taste. It's something you want. It's addiction. It's a type of addiction, to say it like that. But like, what that really is your faith is being increased. But if you don't ever go out and do anything and put yourself in a position that you need to rely on him, then your faith isn't increased, and you won't continue to taste him.
I think the word does that. He puts you in that place, and he tests you.
Some people, I mean, it's very easy to get stuck inside reading continually, studying the word. Many people do it, and
prayer, worship.
But prayer and obedience, because you do have to go out and do something. Yeah. And I know
no matter what
we tasted it, and he's going to put you in positions, but are you at that moment going to be willing to yield?
Put it in practice now.
That's the moment you need to be able to overcome the ego, is when you're put in situations.
But I think like is the more of his spirit becomes stronger in you, people are drawn to you. You know, you don't go out, I don't know, I'm speaking for
Different
myself,
missions
you know,
for
this is
different
just,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, but there's
You know,
different
this is for me.
people. I
Different
mean,
missions for different
yeah,
people.
right.
Well, I mean, like for me, it's just, you know, I mean, people come and ask me, you know, and I share with them. You know, I don't go and seek them, you know, and he puts us in situations, you know, too, where now he's putting us in places where we need to help the sick, the widow. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while. We've been praying about it, and now it's coming, you know. I mean, people at work, they come, and you are sharing the word. They want to hear it. You know, I guess the Spirit, you know, connects and pulls a desire on those that want to know the Father.
And John says, when our temple is prepared and we prepare ourselves as a living sacrifice, he gives the fire of his Spirit. Just as when the Mishkan was built, then the fire came. So first you have to be prepare and be a willing vessel.
Yes.
And
More faith.
We have what we need.
Oh, no.
It says that in the scripture.
Yeah, how does it say it?
Yeah.
How does it say? Does it?
We do see the disciples ask for more faith. Give us.
No, I remember the one who did a healing, but he said, "Do you have faith?" Yahuah asked, and he said, "I believe, help my unbelief."
Yeah,
Like
but that, who was that said that? He wasn't even a Hebrew. I don't think he was not even a Hebrew, right?
So since your faith grows, you know you can have more.
That's right.
Right.
Until we're perfect.
John says we should have no sin. So if you have faith that it's possible for you to have no sin, then you will have no sin. If we have faith that we can do all the things you should, we will do all the things you should. And more, as he said we would. So either he's lying or he's telling the truth.
True.
And I believe that.
Yeah.
So we have been given a portion of faith, and what do you have to do? You have to exercise it.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And by exercising it, you're growing it, I would say.
Yeah, use your talents. Don't be given
Yeah.
more.
I'll ask John to answer the question as well. I'll see what he has to
In
say.
1 Corinthians, it talks about.
And Poppy says, I don't think we can ever believe we have enough faith or trust in him if we don't know what we'll be facing. So we need to have an immense amount of faith.
Oh, yeah. Well, like a mustard seed. Right? Did I say that?
Yeah, that's true. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
You have another question?
Question. Why was Dan excluded from the 144,000? John, you got this one.
Why was what?
Dan excluded.
Dan?
Oh, when
The 12 gates.
Well, wasn't Dan the
Okay.
one that didn't...
Before we go to that question, John answers, Yahuah gives to everyone a measure of belief.
Wow.
We have to expand this measure. All we need is a seed and water it with His word. Faith comes by something and hearing by the word of Yahuah.
Seeing and hearing?
Seeing and hearing? Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Tasting?
Faith comes by hearing and
Hearing.
hearing and hearing.
Hearing and hearing. Double hearing, double portion, 2 years.
So we have to, what we're saying, you have to exercise it. You have a portion, and that's enough for you to get started and move out, and it'll grow.
It's like a muscle that you start exercising.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
And the seed is the perfect growth. It's big as a mustard seed, right?
And then it grows.
And it grows into a big tree.
And then even with what your mom was saying with the muscles, you exercise the muscle and it has to tear, and then you give it time to go ahead and reattach yourself to heal. And like the Father gives us the seasons of trials, and He'll give us the seasons of trial and joy.
The seasons of you're undoubting, you don't have that connection, so you're like, what's going on? But you're going to be standing firm. on the faith that He's given you, that He's gonna do what He's gonna do. That's cool.
And Paul said, consider all things a joy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, any trial we consider a joy, because at least if we know that we're in a game still.
Yeah. Find those rhythms.
Oh, the joy, the joy.
We're in the race and we want to have the prize.
Yeah, I had a trial that, had a car
I needed to
accident.
win it.
I considered it a joy.
Well, remember also in Revelation 12:17, that the evil one came after the woman's seed.
Right.
It was a remnant only.
Oh, yeah.
He only came after the remnant, and those are the ones that were had to believe in Yahushua HaMashiach.
Well, and that's why.
Exactly.
And that's exactly. That's exactly why. I mean, because I was talking to someone and he said that the new sacrificial system was going to be actual people. I'm like, how can you trick any believer if you make it so evident? Like, it wouldn't deceive the actual believers, so it wouldn't make sense. Okay, so what I was saying that there's going to be the sacrificial system of this next coming, priest order that's like obviously Hassatan's. There's going to be actual people being sacrificed, right? But if the enemy is trying to deceive the top ones,
He wouldn't kill them.
yeah, he wouldn't, make it so evident as like, oh yeah, I wonder if that's.
So you could be spiritual.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah.
Stephen McDonald, he says, patach, trust, bitachon, is confidence. In Hebrew is different than emunah. We need bitachon too, which means trust and confidence that He is for us and will never leave us.
Hallelujah.
And faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of Elohim. Yeah. Did you guys have the same one? Okay. Are we to serve Caesar and Yah at the same time?
No.
Nuh-uh. You can only have one master. Nah.
That's it.
Hallelujah.
Huh?
Should we dress up?
Should we dress up as a Levite? No.
Unless you want to be judged by the Torah, even worse.
Oh. Unless you want to be judged by the Torah.
You know what? Like a lot of the Torah breaking things back in the day only applied to the priesthood, because the people didn't even have that many commandments. It was the Levites that were like, well, man got a light and just sacrifice this way. Yeah. The people weren't doing the sacrifices. It was them.
That's right.
So
So we don't have to do the Levitical.
Yeah, we don't have to. So we don't have to do the extra, commandments that come.
And that was for a
that's for a time, and that was a prosthesis to get us galloping along until Yahushua came.
And that's what Sylvia said. She said that we don't dress up as Levites, but we put on Mashiach.
Huh?
The question is the third, sixth, and the ninth hour. Because the prayer, even with some of the apostles, it says kept the third, sixth, and ninth hour. So that is very,
well,
I'm not keeping the third, sixth, and ninth hour.
So is that a command, or is that something they kept?
Well, I'm just saying it's a model.
It's a model.
And if
I would agree.
If some of the disciples were keeping the third, and sixth, and ninth hour, because it said so.
Yeah. I would. We've even been talking about this. We've been
doing
it's beautiful.
3 o'clock
I agree.
and 9 o'clock prayers.
And
But
even
the hour was 9 in the morning.
right.
9 in the
So we
morning.
did 9 in the
6
morning.
a.m. was the first hour.
Yeah.
6, 7, 9, then 12 and 3, right?
Yeah.
4, 6, and 9.
I mean, if you want to get that specific.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
Is that in Israel or?
But we are.
It's 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's other scriptures talk about 7 times a day too. I think it was was it Yahuah? Was it Job that was 7 times a day?
Oh, Yo was constantly praying constantly. I mean, he was like, what's going on here?
Daniel was 3 times a day, right? Because Daniel went home.
Yeah.
See that another example?
Well, Paul said, pray without ceasing.
Yeah, right.
But also, to make a specific time on the day, like 2 times, one in the morning and one in the evening to praise Him and to give the sacrifice that is Mashiach, to recognize the sacrifice that He made for us is something that will give us growth.
And to even expound on this,
Tell about Tom Stapleton.
Yeah, Tom Stapleton has a great study.
Very good.
But to expound is praying at these times a corporate prayer that we had to abide in, or is it a personal prayer? Should we be praying the exact same thing, or just having?
I think we're getting very technical. I think if we let as you go into your closet with prayer, and I believe like as a group, and I'm not saying let's all come together. Like at 9, we know that at 9 we're going into our closet and praying. At that point we are having an intimate time with the Father. So now He is going to help us the Spirit will be manifesting and moving us as to what to pray for. Whether we're praying for one another, whether...
I think we should always pray for one another.
Of course.
I go on my live and stuff, and I see people that are going through it, and I don't have to wait until 3 o'clock to pray for them. I can pray for them right then and there.
Prayer is always good.
I'm just curious about that.
That's why
That's because there were 2 sacrifices.
What are the significances there? Because if you look at the numbers 3, 6, and 9, there's a huge significance on the numbers 3, 6, and 9.
Hey, scoot in so they can hear you. People are asking what you're saying.
Oh, they want to hear you.
No, I'm just wondering what the significance is of the 3, 6.
And what is the significance of 3, 6, and 9?
Why were the apostles keeping? Why were some of the disciples keeping?
Anybody?
It's like
That's a good question.
They were Jew.
Yeah, they were Yahudim, and they were raised in the temple, and I'm sure when they were younger, they were going to the temple, and they were like, whoa. We want to be priests eventually, I don't know, I'm just saying. And then they were. You heard that thing.
3, 6, and 9 also very. Those are the universal numbers. You ever study the numbers, you'll see the 3, 6, and 9 out there. Tesla said something about the 3, and 6, and 9.
Oh my!
So the 3, and 6, and 9 are off the charts.
Oh, that's cool.
And you say 3 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon.
So 3, 6, the 3rd, the 6th, and the 9th hour. There's something that Bianca just mentioned. I thought it was really cool. We like to look at the Hebrew, the Picto Hebrew.
Oh, Gimel.
So the 3rd is Gimel, the 6th is Vav, and the 9 is Tet. And just a little fun. Something I think is powerful actually is Gimel represents the spirit. So the spirit will come to the man. To be able to contain the snake in the basket.
To make the right choice.
To make the right choice. Are you going to get bit by the snake in the basket, or are you going to tame it?
Right.
And so by praying, by spending this time 3 times a day, getting into the Word, you will be able to get the Spirit that will allow you to do that. That's powerful. Do you guys something else?
That's good.
Praying 3 times a day.
So because we've been doing it twice, like at 9.
3 and 9, 9 and 3, right?
And 3.
Yeah, me too.
And it's what John was saying. I need tefillah. I am prayer. Should we stop at that?
I need tefillah or ani?
Ani.
Okay, because I need.
You need.
We've all prayed like constantly throughout the day for our share during times. But it gets absolutely incredibly amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100% incredibly amazing.
100%, that's right.
Everything that we do when we go that way is all in His will. We give it.
That's
The Spirit becomes stronger.
I love it.
I like it. So again, are we serving Caesar and Yah at the same time?
You know what?
So like right now, are we serving Caesar and Yah and at the same time right now? And just listen to some things that were spoken. Right. So we serve Yahuah, yet render to Caesar what is Caesar's. unto Yahuah what is Yahuah's. And John continues, what should be rendered to Caesar and what to Yahuah? Sylvia says, those taxes he still takes in abundance. To Yah, a heart, mind, soul, and spirit are complete devotion. John through Acts. Acts 17:7. Can someone read Acts 17:7 for me?
I sent a video.
Acts 17:7.
Acts 17.
Yeah. 17:7.
Yes. Well, we got some brothers and sisters leaving right now, but we're going to continue the live stream because they can't stop us. Praise Yah, brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
It doesn't sound good.
Sounds really good, man. Hold on, Amy, baby. Oh, gosh. No.
So, let us continue.
Shalom Aleichem. Aleichem Shalom. Hi. Shavua Tov, beloved.
Bamone. God bless.
I command in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach to come out of her.
Are you reading something?
I read Acts, what was it?
17:7.
17:7.
17:7 says, whom Jason has received, and all of them are acting contrary to the dogmas of Caesar, saying there is another sovereign, Yahushua. Just what they were saying.
Say it louder. For me.
Whom Jason has received, and all of them are acting contrary to the dogmas of Caesar, saying there is another sovereign, Yahushua.
So, is that saying that if we're walking with Yahushua, we're walking contrary to Caesar? Yeah, so you guys agree with that?
About what? If we're walking with Yahushua, we're walking with Caesar?
Contrary to Caesar.
Oh. Well, I think so.
Not in all cases.
You know, I don't know. If Caesar told you not to kill someone, you know, say, oh, well, I mean, Yahushua is telling me the same thing. So, I don't know. We just have to hear Yahushua, I would think.
I thought our rulers were put in place by him.
So we obey Caesar's laws as long as they are not contrary to Yahuwah's.
Right.
If they are, we are to walk in Yah's truth, not man's.
Right.
So where does that leave us? If we're put in a system that just being in the system is walking to and contrary to Yah's commands.
Puts us out of the system.
This is a very sketchy.
John, new question, John.
We know.
We pray for the bowls of wrath to be poured out on Caesar's system. How's that?
That's right.
Right.
We have to follow the word.
Think not that I came in to bring peace, I bring a sword. When we stand for truth in the face of evil, there won't be peace, but we have peace in us. Does peace always bring a smiley face?
No, sometimes.
Not gonna do this one.
Always. The question's always, not. No, the question is does
No,
peace...
sometimes.
No,
No,
it doesn't.
No.
I've been sad many days.
Well, some people are trying to stir up contention as well. I mean, if that's your goal, then you're not going to have a smiley face.
But that's not peace. Contention
No,
is
I know,
opposite.
but
No, but that's the
I'm
one
saying-
that you're being peaceful in front of. He's
Right.
gonna be pissed.
Right.
right, so it doesn't bring a smiling
It ain't
face.
bringing peace to him. Although it is, because he's being forced into it.
But
Yeah.
but say we're in our congregation and someone's not bringing peace, he's bringing contention. Are we gonna say in the sign of peace, "Hey brother, can you please go?" Or no, you're gonna stand up and walk them out, right? So there has to be an action done. It's not just being submissive to whatever is being done for the sake of peace.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Mhm.
We don't compromise.
Like being
the word.
accepting of anything just to keep the peace.
Exactly.
Well, that's
Giving
like
us
with
a
a
I
child.
think, yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't just give in just to keep the peace.
Yeah.
Because then where are you gonna end up?
And we got the
Walked all
example.
over.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. They have no spoiled, have no boundaries even. They'll become a mess of society in the kingdom. Huh?
The kingdom.
Now with the child, you can't just give in every time just for the sake of peace, so you won't cry or whatnot. You have to stand firm and give them guidance
That's right.
and rules,
And
and that's what
also,
Yahuah does with us.
also we have example about the system, Daniel, that he was helping the king when they put a law that they have to bow down to the statue. He didn't do it, and he was working for them, you know, and he was thrown to the lions.
You know, there was a story about that. I think it was Jubilees or Jasher.
Oh, yeah.
Josh.
Jasher. And the brother of, I think it was, wasn't it?
Terah?
Abraham's
The brothers
brother.
of Abraham.
It was Abraham.
The father of Lot.
Yeah, the father of Lot.
He
Ran into.
he didn't give his heart to Abba.
Right.
So this is such a huge lesson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It seemed like what he did was he was questioning.
Yeah. To see who was
being
going to
on the
win,
fence.
right?
He's like, am I going to?
Yeah,
I don't really
yeah.
know. And then when he went into the fire, what happened to him?
Done.
And
Yeah,
that reminds me of being lukewarm. You know, that's what the
Yeah,
Father
it was-
hates is because he's just like trying to see like what satisfied him, but it's not about it's not about us. We need to make a decision. Are we gonna be faithful and not bow down to the idols or say the names or whatever, or are we gonna go ahead and live our?
And then that requires faith. That requires a stance without you knowing the full outcome of.
It's like going to war.
It's willing to give our life up.
But wasn't he going to get the idols like in the
That was when
fire?
they went to, yeah, but there was some other thing that I don't remember the whole story.
Huh.
There's two
No,
different accounts.
no, totally.
There's two accounts. It's where Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon,
Yeah,
Nimrod. Nimrod's got Abraham, and he's. I forgot.
I remember that.
And they're saying, so he's watching. He's like, I'll side with Nimrod if he's appearing to win, or
right.
And
But that's like war, you know. It's like if you're going to go to war, and you've got two choices. You can be with this guy. You can be with that guy. That's kind of what's going on right now. We have to choose Abbas.
Yeah, no matter what. Yeah.
It's the same thing that happened when there was the priests of Yahweh, there was the priests of Baal.
Oh
He said,
yeah.
"This day, where do you stand?"
Yeah, and they were all destroyed.
That's what
yeah.
has to happen. So, man, you got to
Totally.
And I think he's building us up. He's giving us a voice. And didn't Shaul said, if I die, I die. You know?
Then
But
it's
if
good
I
for
really,
me.
I'm looking
If
for
I
you
stay,
to
it's
do
good
the
for
word of
you.
God.
Yeah.
If you
Whatever it is.
Yeah, if I die, it's wonderful for me because I'm going to go to the kingdom. But I choose to
To
stay.
live is
for your
Mashiach.
benefit, yeah.
To live is Mashiach, to die is gain.
Right, there it
Yeah.
is, yeah.
And Mario, actually, he wrote that a few weeks back.
Oh, yeah.
Mario pointed out, and he said something cool right now, is to do nothing is to agree with it.
Yeah.
It is a part of the priestly duty to protect the sanctity of the community.
Right.
And so we have to
You have to
stand
say something.
for righteousness.
That's right.
I like it, Mario. Keep it
Yeah,
coming.
hallelujah, Mario. Love you, Mario.
Thank you.
Love you, brother.
That's so important to be able to hear.
Huh?
That's why it's so important to be able to hear us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, you can make that wrong choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because there must have been some people that believed in those Baal priests.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
they were wicked.
You know, all that crazy stuff and believe in it.
Right.
What else would they have done?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Why would you give your son and your daughter to sacrifice that you believe in?
no,
So that's why it's
no.
important to be able to know the truth.
Oh, yeah, they were whack. I wouldn't give my
A lot
son.
of people in this world right now are sacrificing children still.
Yeah.
Believe in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I looked at it also like by teaching your son and your daughter the lie that this is God stuff, then you're offering them to them. So like not necessarily killing them, but spiritually they were dead. And this is a third and fourth generation lies, so they were. I don't know, either way they're dead. So yeah, horrible. And that's what I looked at like Christmas and all that, like. Us teaching our sons and daughters these lies, and Easter bunny or whatever, it's not. We're leading them down the wrong path, like on purpose, usually. Mm-hmm. And we know they're just because they're little now, that's what they'll say, but. Yeah.
Probably even doing worse. Probably even doing spiritual things.
Exactly, yeah.
You feel it in the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. No, I think
Those things
very.
a lot. Okay.
Because the demons have to have a way in.
Oh,
They have to law.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if you start doing things that they have access to, then they can.
That's right.
You have to watchful, watch your words, your gates.
Watch your gates. Put watchmen on your gates.
About the prayers, Daniel, he prays
Mm-hmm.
3 times a day. Yeah, and he opens the window and he prays. So it was like he was following the law. But because he wasn't in the temple, he was in exile, but he keep praying 3 times a
Look
day.
at. Is it done? It's so.
No, people are still talking.
Oh, wow.
I know we are working, so sometimes
Okay.
it's hard to put one time. Because if you are doing something, you cannot, but in your mind you can still pray, that's what I do when I work at 9 o'clock.
Should I bring it up? So the question is, Poppy wrote, people get upset with me for not accepting others' preferred pronouns or attend same-sex weddings. How do I stand for Yahuah's truth and still live in peace with others? Sylvia responded, it says, so long as it is possible with you. It is
possible.
It is not possible for you to endorse LBGT weddings. Oh, but yeah.
You know what LBGT wedding stands for?
What?
So,
No, I don't know.
do you remember that thing, Shimon?
Uh-uh.
I forgot.
Mm.
It's just so funny.
That was.
Yeah, right.
That's
I
what.
didn't even know what
So,
LGBT was. I was like,
and she says standing up for or not going to these events that she's invited to does not create peace. And I won't compromise the truth to get along. Is that okay? Think not that I came to bring peace. I bring a sword. When we stand for truth in the face of evil, there will be no peace. There won't be peace, but we have peace in us.
Yeah, I think that was kind of going with what Robert was saying, is that like we stand for what the word says, and most of the time like we can be in shalom, but the other person will be the one getting offended.
Right.
Even when they ask us questions like about our faith and they start the conversation and we just answer, it's them to get mad. And I think at that moment, like, that's not our responsibility. Like, that's a personal problem that they have to deal with.
I agree. And Sylvia wrote back, we do not have unity for unity's sake. We are to have unity in truth, in Mashiach.
Yes.
Not unity with wickedness.
Right.
Beautiful. To do nothing is to agree with it. It is a part of the priestly duty to protect sanctity for the community. Amen.
Come on.
LGBT stands for let God be true and every man a liar.
Yeah, something like that. That's so funny. But, yeah.
Thank you guys.
Here we go. Hallelujah. I think we're ready to call it.
I'm on.
Thank you everybody for joining. What a blessing. Very exciting.
Thank you, man.
Let's close in prayer.
Yeah.
Huh? Abba Yah, we thank you so much for this beautiful day, this Shabbat you have sanctified us with, that we could come into your rest, that we could open your word, that we could discuss things that require your Ruach to understand. We thank you that you are dwelling with us and that we are willing vessels to prepare a place. And so we ask that you use us, that you use others around us to reveal the things we need to change so we could prepare this Mishkan, this tabernacle, and be ani tefillah, be prayer unto you, inspecting our lives, inspecting the fruit that we are producing. And Father, reveal to us the things we need to change so we could produce the true fruit of life, the fruit of the Spirit, so we could be a blessing unto others, living selflessly, not searching for our own glory, for our own gain, but being willing vessels to lose everything for the sake of a brother in need. We praise you, Abba Yah. We praise you in the name of Yahuah, Yahushua Mashiach, the order of Melchizedek. We thank you that you're our high priest and that we are able to come into this presence and feel your Ruach flow within each and every one of us. We praise you for all eternity. Hallelujah. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Bless
Thank
everyone
y'all.
online.
Baruch. Shalom. Shabbat
Shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
I play a little bit.